Okay, so here's how you make plus sign quilting stitches so that this will end up with a plus sign on the front and on the back. And this tutorial is for scattered plus sign quilting. I'll do a different one that talks about how to do it all in a straight line, but this is for kind of a scattered look. So here I've done it on my Holland pouch, and you can see they're kind of just placed randomly. And so to do this, you do each stitch individually. So this is not the quick method by any means, because you have to do each stitch on its own. But if you're doing something small, it doesn't take too long. So here's how you do it. What you're gonna need is whatever you're stitching on. So this is just a sample piece. I just have 2 pieces of scrap with some batting in between. So whatever you're gonna stitch on. I've got clippers. I'm using pearl cotton thread. You can really use whatever you want. I like this because it's thicker and makes kind of a chunky stitch. If you only have regular thread, I will often just double it, and then it makes a thicker stitch. You can see a little bit more. And then I've got my needle. Honestly, I have no idea what kind of needle this is that I'm using. It's just a basic needle. You can use whatever you like, no problem. So you're gonna wanna take some of your thread. And the first thing we're gonna do is, I'm going to thread it onto your thing here. Pearl cotton can be tricky to thread. Here we go. Okay. And we're going to do a quilter's knot. So if you've never done one, I'll show you how I do mine. So take your end and put it behind your needle. You're going to pinch it right in there. So the thread is behind my needle, pinched in between my fingers. And then I'm taking the other end of that, and I'm gonna wrap in the front of the needle around 1 time. If you're using regular thread, you may wanna wrap 2 or 3 times. Because the pearl cotton is so thick, I only need to do it once. And if you do it too thick, it'll have a hard time popping your knot through. So then I'm still pinching with this finger, and with the other hand, I just pull my needle through, just keep pinching all the way to the end, and it will knot itself. Ta-da, like magic. So now you've got your knot that you're gonna use. Okay, so when you start your X, because we're gonna pop our knot through, let's say I want my X to be maybe right about here. I'm gonna start over here because I've gotta come at it from the side. So I just go under my top layer. I'm not going through the batting. Why is this not going? Here we go. I'm just going through the top layer of the fabric. And I just come up usually about 1/2 inch over. So pull this through, and then your knot will catch. Oh, I should have done this before. You want to trim this. So you just have a little bit of a piece. Should have done that first. Okay, and then pull gently, firmly. Uh-oh, that didn't work. I popped it all the way through. Sometimes that happens, so I'll just try again. I pulled too hard, or maybe my knot's not quite big enough. If you're constantly popping all the way through, your knot is probably not big enough. There we go. I didn't pull quite so hard. So now I'm ready to start my X. So I'm just gonna go straight across. I totally freehand the X's. I don't draw them on. If you need it to be really specific, feel free to draw. Okay, so there's your first side, and then I'm gonna come up from the bottom, and I'm gonna do my X like that. Okay, so there I have my X on the front. Again, it's not perfect. I'm okay with that because this is kind of a scattered look. I kind of like that they're not 100% perfect. It's a little bit of a whimsical look. Okay, so now to finish this off, you're gonna flip it over. And you can see on the back, hopefully you can see, you've got like 1 straight line and then you're over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cross the line again so that you have an X on the back. If you don't want to, sometimes you could just do it like a 2nd straight line if you want. So it kind of looks like that. But before we do that, we need to make a knot. So I just kind of do I don't know what you call this knot. I just go around, and then you want your knot to be about 1/2 inch up. So if you kind of pinch the fabric, or the thread, excuse me, it will kind of knot under your fingers. So you don't want it to be too close because we're gonna pop this knot through. Okay, so now you can see my knot is like right here. So I'm gonna cross over, and again, when I do this, I'm only going through the top fabric. I'm not going all the way down. So see if we can see it up here. I'm just catching the top fabric and I'm going out probably about 1 inch to the side because I want my knot to pop through. And so we're gonna go ahead and pull that. So now my knot is right there. So then again, I just pull like that. And then you wanna trim right up against the fabric so that that tail disappears. And then you have your X on your back. And the more you do it, and if you're more of a perfectionist than me, your X's will get better looking. So, but that's how you do it. And then to do your next one, you would just start the process over again.